and sit down.
And now, streaming live from the sunny Southern California coast, this is Options Uncensored.
Hey everybody, I'm Steve. Welcome to Options Uncensored. We're making real options trades in real time together. Let's get right into it. First things first, make sure you have your brokerage account open and ready to go. Have your YouTube video quality set as high as possible. It helps you read the numbers a whole lot easier. Have a calculator on hand so you can do some easy math together. And finally, remember, this is not financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes only. All right, happy Monday, everybody. Let's look at our positions that we have open. First, we have a SPY put vertical. So let me go over this really quick. Last Thursday, we opened a SPY call vertical that we sold. It got filled on the 20th last Friday. And then at the very end of day, on Friday, we got filled on a put vertical that we sold, okay? So now the SPY's down a little bit today. This position is flat. A lot of our positions are flat here, so let's go over the rest of those. So SPY opened at 64. We're right at the mark, so this is flat. We're trying to get to 32. Gold is coming in today. We open around 50, 51. So we've got some time. These are all November expiration here, except the SPY is a December expiration. XOP coming in today, that's flat as well. I know this one moved against us a lot, but it's come down a lot today. So we're trying to get to 32, open at 64, almost at the mark here. Coca-Cola, flat. You see here, we're up $1. We opened at 32. I know this one moved up against us a lot a couple weeks ago, so it's come all the way back. And I know we have earnings, I think, this week on Coca-Cola. We'll check in on that. And then Roku, trying to get to 31, still down a bit. But we've got time, November expiration, and if we need to, we could always roll next week or the week after, okay? All right, cool. Let's look at some news events today. First, we'll start with CVX. Chevron, down today. Let's look. Earnings are the 27th. So earnings, we have the oil earnings this week. So we won't make a move on Chevron before earnings. We'll wait till after earnings and then follow up with all the oil stocks, okay? So they were in the news because they acquired Hess. Not a lot of movement here today. Earnings for them are the 25th. So let's wait a couple days and we'll check in with them post earnings as well, all right? Next, ESMT. They're in the news today. Earnings are November 2nd. So again, we've got a lot of earnings coming up, and I don't like opening positions before earnings, so we'll have to wait on this one as well. Let's take a quick look at the chart. Yeah, big here today. So we'll hold on this one. Next, Devon Energy, DVN. They're down today. I think they got a downgrade from someone. Take a look at the chart here. Earnings for Devon are November 7th. That's about 2 weeks or so. We'll have to wait on this one as well. It may be possible to get in and out really quick. So just so everyone knows, we're now trading December expiration, no longer trading November expiration. So make sure everyone's on December now. If you sold the 55 and bought the 60. Calculators out. We'll take 61 minus 21, divide that by 2, divide that by 500. On the call side, if you sold the call spread, you'd get a 4%. That's not great at all. On the put side, if you sold the 40 and bought, you'd have to buy the 37.5 because the 35 is too illiquid. You see the spread here is 16.47. That's too wide. So if we take 68 minus 38, divide that by 2, and divide that by 500, that's even worse, 3% return. So we're going to skip Devon Energy for now. Let's move on. CRM, Salesforce. Earnings are December 6th. That's great. We've got over a month, so we've got plenty of time. Earnings aren't an issue. Here's our chart. Everybody seems to be coming up to their 200-day moving average, so that's good. It already bounced here today on that. On the put side for December, if you sold the 175 and bought the 170, what do you get? That's 275 minus 208. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 500. That's almost 7% return. So that's 6.7% if you sold the 175 and bought the 170. This expiration does include some earnings volatility because the earnings are on the 7th. But if we can be out in time, that's great. Let's see, where's 175 on the chart? 175 is all the way down here. That's pretty far out, but remember, earnings are coming up. So let me make a note of CRM. We'll come back. All right, next, LHX. Why was this in the news? Earnings are the 26th, 3 days, so we'll have to skip this one. Too close to earnings. Next, let's look at the TLT. And again, we'll look at the weekly chart here, going back to 2007 lows, which are around 82.5. Right now, we're at 83.5. Go back to the daily chart really quick. So it got down to a new 52-week low today. We're at 82.4. It's close. If you want to go in and jump on the put side right now for December expiration, if you sold the 76 and bought the 71, what do you get? That's 76 minus 30. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 500, 4.6% return. So it's creeping up. On the call side, if you sold the 91 and bought the 96, what do you get there? 74 minus 27. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 500, 4.7% if you sold the call side. This is the bond ETF, so volatility is not usually heightened in this thing. That's why you get paid almost 5% on the call side. We'll keep an eye on it. Next, Morgan Stanley. We've been following this one post-earnings. We're already past earnings. Down 4 days in a row now. And we are post-earnings. Let's take a look at the put side here. If you sold the 65 and bought the 60, what do you get? That's 89 minus 39 divided by 2 divided by 500. 5% right on the nose, and this is post-earnings. The next earnings aren't until, what, January? So we don't have to worry about any earnings movement here on this one. We're at 65 on the chart. $65 is all the way down here. Could it get there? For sure. Keep an eye on this one still. Next, let's look at NVIDIA, NVDA. Bouncing a lot today. It may be too late to sell puts. Earnings are November 21st. About a month away, so that's fine. On the put side, if you sold the 340 and bought the 335, what do you get? 617 minus 552. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 500. 6.5% return on the put side. Not bad. On the call side, if you sold the 510 and bought the 515, you get paid more. 842 minus 767. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 500. 7.5% if you sold the call side. That's even better. 505. What if we went up to the 510? 847 minus 772. Yeah, so 510. Where's the 510 on the chart? $510 is right about here. That would be all-time highs if it did move there. Not saying it can't. It's kind of a no man's land here. I'd rather wait for it to move up and then sell a call spread. So skip the call side for now. That's why you get paid more to take the call side selling it. Tesla's next. Been down a lot. TSLA down, I think, over 20% in the past couple days. Post earnings move, that's why. Maybe getting a bounce here. $163. So post earnings on this one, that's great. Let's see who's paying what. For December expiration, on the put side, if you sold the 170 and bought the 165, that's 360 minus 292. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 500. 6.8 if you sold the put side. That's great. On the call side, if you sold the 250 and bought the 255, that's 407 minus 335. Divide that by 2, divide that by 500. 7.2%. So pretty equal on the calls and the put side. I'd like to sell the put side. 170, 165. Where are we? The 170 is right about here. Ugh. All right. Let's do it. We'll sell a put spread on Tesla. So we're going to do December expiration. We're going to sell the 170 and buy the 165, okay? Let's do the math here really quick. 362 minus 293. Divide that by 2, divide that by 500. It's almost 7% return. I know the call side pays you better. I just don't want to sell the call side right now. All right. Sell 170, buy 165. Go to verticals. It's already on 5. 170, 165 is right here. We're going to go for the ask of 74. So let's double check the ticket. We're going to buy one December expiration of the 165 put and sell one December expiration of the 170 put. All right, so you're risking $500 to make 74 divided by 2. 74 divided by 2, that's $37 divided by 500. Trying to get a 7.4% return by risking only $500, okay? Limit, credit, 74. Preview that. We'll double check everything. Buy one December 165 put, sell one December 170 put. This is both open. You receive a credit. That's very important. Make sure you're receiving a credit when you open these trades. We'll send that out. That'll hang tight out here with the rest of them all day long. If it gets filled, great. If not, we'll look again for something else tomorrow. Tesla earnings, January 24th. So earnings are not involved in this one. Perfect. Let's look at Netflix next. NFLX. Netflix earnings are January. Great, we're past earnings. Sorry, earnings were a couple days ago. All right. On the put side, let's see what you get paid. If you sold the 345 and bought the 340, that's 415 minus 355. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 500. 6% on the nose if you sold the put spread. The 345, 340, risking $500 on the call side. Sell the 455 and buy the 460. That's 472 minus 397. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 500. 7.5% if you sold the call side. And mind you, no earnings are involved in this one. Where is 455 on the chart? $455 is right about here. This one's interesting. Not yet on this one. Again, it did have this big move up after earnings, but I'd rather keep moving up and then sell a call spread somewhere around 438-ish. So we'll keep Tesla on the list. Sorry, we'll keep Netflix on the list. Tesla, we have our ticket open. All right, that's it for the news events today. Let's go to our IV rank scanner. And we're going to sort by volume here. All right, SPY ETF, we have our position open, still heightened volatility, so that's great. If you don't have something open, let's see what's good. I would still sell the put side. On the put side, if you want to open something, if you want to open a new position today, sell the 391 and buy the 386. What do you get? That's 383 minus 322. Divide that by 2, divide that by 500, 6.1% return, all right? So that's still not a bad trade. I'm in this one right here. I sold the 393 and bought the 388. December expiration. Cool. On the call side, if you want to sell the call side, sell the 450 and buy the 455. What do you get? That's 161 minus 97. Divide that by 2, divide that by 500. 6.4% on the call side. So pretty fairly balanced. It's because we're pretty much in no man's land. Could definitely bounce here and keep moving up, or could keep moving lower and catch a bid somewhere around, I don't know, 407. If it got to bounce around 407, that's fine. My strikes are what? 393. My strikes are all the way down here. We got plenty of time. December expiration. All right, we'll skip the Qs. All right, just remember there are a lot of earnings coming up this week and next, so we're just going to avoid that. Apple has earnings November 2nd. NVIDIA, we already looked at NVIDIA. Amazon has earnings. The TLT, we already looked at. AMD's on Halloween. Jets Global. Let's take a look at Jets. I've never traded it. Don't know much about it. It's an ETF too. Well, it's down a lot. It's moved from 22 down to 15 the past couple months. Oh, Jesus. So no earnings if it's an ETF. On the put side, you don't really get paid for it. It's too small of a stock. Skip this one. Palantir has earnings. We already looked at Netflix. Bank of America still has heightened volatility even though it's post-earnings. I think it's too small of a stock, though. Let's look at JPM. Let's look at the put side on JP Morgan. I may have missed it already, though. If you sold the 130, bought the 125, what do you get? That's 133 minus 85. Divide that by 2 and divide that by 500. Not even 5%, only 4.8%. Let's skip this one. Let's keep moving on. EM, Emerging Markets ETF. Let's check that one out. So no earnings on ETFs. This one's kind of in no man's land too. I kind of would wish for it to get to around 34, 35 and then open something on the put side. I wouldn't want to open anything on the call side right now either. On the put side, if you sold the 34 and bought the 32, if you have a small account, that'd be great. It's only risking $200. 31 minus 14 divided by 2 divided by 200. Nah, skip it. Only 4.2% return. Next. Microsoft has earnings tomorrow. Excellent. We must have a lot of tech earnings this week. Meta 2 this week, so we'll follow up on those two afterwards. If there's some big moves, we might do something. Soxel. SoFi has earnings. AT&T is still heightened, but it's post earnings. I think it's a $15 stock, so it's not really that worth it. HYG. Meh, let's take a look. It's liquid. What a mess. If it could get down into the pandemic lows, then it would be interesting. I don't think we're there yet. We'll skip this one. Unless you really want to, let's look really quick. If you sold the... Jesus. The 70's too close and the 69's too far away. On the put side, on the call side, same thing. 74's too close. You don't even get paid for it. Skip this one. You do get paid a little bit on the put side, though. That's interesting. If you sold the 69 and bought the 66, that's 43 minus 13 divided by 2 divided by 300. 5% on the nose. That's better than the TLT. Next. Google has earnings. Shopify earnings. Gold is still elevated. We have a position open. We're kind of behind on it, but if you want to open something, GLD, not often do you get volatility in gold, so this is great. Here's the chart. Down a bit today. It's flat today. Let's call it flat. But that's good. My strike is what? 186, 191. My strike is up here. It's definitely moved towards it. We opened it up here on the 12th. If you want to open something on the call side, I'd still recommend that. Mine is November expiration, so keep that in mind. But now for December expiration, if you wanted to sell the 194 and buy the 199, that's 157 minus 95, divide that by 2, divide that by 500, 6.2%. That's really not bad at all. If I didn't have a position, I'd open another one here. Sell the 194 and buy the 199. Risking $500 to get 31. That's 6.2% return. That's incredible. It's an ETF and it's gold. All right, next. PayPal earnings. Unity Software earnings. The XLE. Take a look at the XLE. Well, it's too late to sell the call side because you missed it, and I don't think I'd want to sell the put side either. Who's paying what? Put side pays. If you sold the 79 and bought the 74, what do you get? That's 71 minus 30. Divide that by 2. Divide that by 500. 4.1% on the put side. Skip that. Not worth it. On the call side, if you sold the 98 and bought the 103, that's 88 minus 35, divide that by 2, divide that by 500, 5% on the nose. Not that great. Let's keep moving on. We're almost done for today. LQD, that's investment grade corporate ETF. Silver, Ford, Oxy has earnings, Rivian has earnings, Exxon has earnings, the KRE, Square earnings, Disney earnings, XLF, this should be coming in. The financial sector ETF, JD probably has earnings. Intel earnings, that'll be a fun one in a couple days here. Next page. CanView, we've traded that one before. Lucid is at a $4 stock. We'll skip that. Plug, $6. Pfizer has earnings on Halloween. The XBI, let's check out that one. Down a boatload. We're getting close to selling puts. If we got down to 64-ish, I'd be interested. Maybe even 65. We're getting close. Is this thing liquid? Liquid enough. Close. If you sold the 58 and bought the 53, 80 minus 33 divided by 2 divided by 500, only 4.7. That's not great. On the call side, if you sold the 74 and bought the 79, that's 69 minus 19 divided by 2 divided by 500, 5% on the nose there. Let's move on. GDX, miners ETF. Earnings are past American, but it's an only $11 stock. We're not going to get much there. ARK. Haven't seen ARK on this list in a while. Let's check it out. No earnings on this one, but tech earnings are heavy in this, and tech earnings are coming up. Could be getting a bounce here. On the put side, if you sold the 30, bought the 27, risking $300. That's 48 minus 21 divided by 2 divided by 300. Nah, skip it. 4.5%. We'll skip the call side. Next, last one here. Chevron we already looked at. Enphase has earnings on the 26th. That'll be interesting. Freeport, the 19th. We're past the earnings on Freeport. Let's keep moving on. Qualcomm has earnings. Barrick has earnings. Devon we already looked at. Snap has earnings. The VXX, no thank you. Carvana, earnings. Consumer discretionary ETF. Their earnings are coming up. Walgreens got an upgrade today on their post earnings. Son of a gun. Raytheon's tomorrow, that'll be fun. Wells Fargo still has heightened volatility even though they're past earnings. Let's take a look at that and then call it. WFC. Let's take a look at the chart. Probably want to sell the put side. Actually, no, it bounced off the 200-day here. If you should have sold a call spread here, that would have been great. You would have been out of it already and made some money. Post earnings, should have sold the calls. Missed that one. I wouldn't sell the puts and I wouldn't sell the calls here. I don't know. Where do you get paid? If you sold the 35 and bought the 30, 15 divided by 500, 3% on the put side. Skip the put side on the call side. 45, not much here on the call side. Too late on this one. We missed this one. That's all right. I think that'll do it for today. We've got our Tesla position open. So if this ticket gets filled, that's 74 divided by 2. 37 is what we'll set the close order. So we will set a buy to close order, limit 37 cents, and we'll set that as good till canceled, so it'll be open for the next 60 days, okay? So if that Tesla position gets filled, great. If not, tomorrow we'll look for something else. Make sure you turn in every day, 7:15 a.m. on the West Coast, 10:15 a.m. on the East Coast. We'll trade options together. Tell your friends who are trading to tune in as well. Subscribe, you'll get alerts for when we go live. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.